Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things positive on this channel. If that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place, and we're so happy to have you here. This is Terrifying Tuesday on this channel where we talk about all things horror. And today we have to talk about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot trailer that appeared at CinemaCon. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we have to talk a little bit about this trailer because this is one movie that I've been sort of excited to talk about, and we've gotten kind of crickets on whether or not Jennifer Love Hewitt was going to return. We sort of suspected she would, but in what capacity we weren't really sure. And we didn't know how much of an actual role Freddie Prinze Jr. was going to actually have in the movie. However, now we kind of have a better idea because at CinemaCon, they showed a trailer for this to fans. And with the trailer at CinemaCon, we can actually expect this trailer to make the rounds. And as it starts to make the rounds, we can also talk more about what we expect from this movie and what we think is actually going to happen. And one thing that I am excited to be able to report to you is that it looks as though Jennifer Love Hewitt is back. According to the trailer, she is back, and she delivers, of course, one of the corniest lines ever, but we'll get into that in the article. So we're going to talk a little bit about what Variety has said about the event and the trailer, and then I'll kind of give you my thoughts. Alright, so according to Variety, I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel debuts bloody footage and teases Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s return. So the article says, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are back at the scene of the crime. The 90 icons and stars of I Know What You Did Last Summer returned in the blood-soaked trailer for the sequel to the 1997 slasher. Now the hook-wielding fisherman has found a new generation to torture. Attendees of a CinemaCon got the first ever look at Sony's I Know What You Did Last Summer, which opens as a picture-perfect young couple portrayed by franchise newcomers Madeline Klein and Joshua Orpin are enjoying a night of self-care, including a calming bubble bath for Madeline Klein's character, complete with noise-canceling headphones. However, all this rest and relaxation takes a deadly turn as the cloaked killer enters their premises. The sequel follows 5 friends who accidentally cause a deadly car crash and cover up their involvement, making a pact to keep it secret rather than face the consequences. And guys, in a very familiar fashion, their past is going to come back and haunt them. Now, it goes on to say that someone is bent on revenge. It says, of course, the seaside town is no stranger to slaughterings and bloodshed, as they one by one are stalked by the slasher. The friends discover this has happened before, and they turn to the 2 survivors of the legendary Southport Massacre of 1997 to help. Now, they get the obligatory warning from Freddie Prinze Jr., who tells them that this isn't the first time there has been violence like this in Southport. And he tells this to a packed courthouse in the trailer. And later in the footage, Jennifer Love Hewitt chimes in, saying, I have just one question. What did you do last summer? Now, the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, of course, had 4 teens from the small seaside town get stalked by a hook-wielding killer after covering up a car accident that was believed to be fatal. The film became a box office success with $125 million globally and spawned a sequel in 1998, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. There was also the straight-to-video reboot, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, and the primetime TV series I Know What You Did Last Summer. So Jennifer Caitlin Robinson of Do Revenge and Someone Great is directing the film from a script she co-wrote with Sam Linsky. The film also stars, however, Sarah Pigeon, Tyreek Weathers, Jonah Howard King, and Chase Suey Winters. They round out the cast, and I Know What You Did Last Summer fittingly hits theaters over summer on July 18th of this year. That is what the article tells us about the event, about the trailer, and what it revealed. However, there are some things that make me more excited about this project. Number one is that, of course, they say that it is very gory. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. Now, we also have to look at Jennifer Love Hewitt coming back and Freddie Prinze Jr. We kind of knew Freddie Prinze Jr. was coming back, but this tells us something that was kind of talked about early on when discussing this movie, that he would probably be playing a big part in helping out these new kids. Well, now we kind of know that they go to these survivors because they learn that this isn't the first time this has happened. And that also includes Jennifer Love Hewitt, who we weren't actually sure was even coming back, but now we know she is. And I think that's a wonderful thing because Jennifer Love Hewitt in this series of movies is necessary. I actually do think that stepping away from Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. hurt the third film in the franchise. And I think that it's one of the rare cases where you almost needed them, but if they could pass the torch, which they failed to do in that third movie, because, when you weren't including them, to pass that torch, it left everybody feeling like, what happened here, what? I almost would like to see them tie the third movie in somehow. I think that would be kind of unique and kind of cool, but I don't anticipate them doing that. They have the original couple from the original movie, and that's going to be good enough. But also, let's talk about Freddie Prinze Jr. kind of being that voice of reason, telling them, hey, in this courtroom, that this isn't the first time this happened. And then we get Jennifer Love Hewitt talking about, I have just one question. What did you do last summer? It's such a cheesy line. It really is. It's so cheesy, but it's so perfect because if you think about it, it's a very 80s, 90s line. You have to look at some of the movies that were coming out during that time and some of the movies that were around in the 80s and 90s, those late 80s and early 90s. Some of them were sort of cheesy, but in a good way. The original I Know What You Did Last Summer was at the tail end of that 90s cheesy vibe that sometimes happened in movies. And still on occasion does, and it always makes me feel good. It always makes me feel nostalgic and like I'm seeing something great happening on film, because some of the early 90s movies and the late 90s movies, and even if you go back as far as the 80s, a lot of those movies have really nostalgic vibes and such rewatchability. The 90s were especially kind of that way sometimes, it seems like, where they did those one-liners. And I blame Buffy the Vampire Slayer for that, as well as the Scream franchise. Later in the 90s anyway, the Scream franchise definitely helped to kind of give that vibe. The line in that trailer, if she delivers it the way it sounds like she's going to deliver it, I have one question for you. What did you do last summer? It's kind of going to give me these Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead vibes from 1991. And that wouldn't be a bad thing. But anyway, We now know that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are going to be back, and we know that they're going to be helping these kids. And before, we speculated this, and it was going around, but now we kind of have that confirmation that that's what this movie is going to be about. And I think that's actually a good thing, because in the long run, if this movie's going to have a longevity, if they're going to try to revive this franchise was never Scream. It was never going to have that level of ability to be maintained. You have to take this movie in a different direction at some time. You have to actually give a new story with new people. But with part 3 not really having these characters in it, it did sort of hurt it. It did sort of leave us wanting to have that send-off with these characters, know what happened to them, and sort of pass the torch. And I think this movie, if it passes the torch in the right way, could actually revive the series to where it could be more of a franchise. We could get more sequels. And I'd be 1,000% down with that. They keep upping the gore level. They keep upping everything else. I'm 1,000% down for them to try to keep this franchise going. The Fisherman was always sort of an intriguing idea and an intriguing character. But that is where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. Are you excited about the description of this trailer that was given to us by CinemaCon? Or do you think that this is going to flop big time? Do you like the idea that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are back in this movie to sort of pass the torch? Do you think they will pass the torch, or do you think this is going to be a one and done sort of reboot? Would you rather have had them continue on without these characters and just sort of make it not really connect? Whatever your thoughts are, I want to hear from you. As always, we want to hear from you. Make sure you're leaving us that comment in the comment box below, and make sure you are sharing this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this crazy conversation. And then, friends, hit that like button. It's free. It helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. And then hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that notification bell as well, so you don't miss a single video we do. And friends, at the end of the day, I know it, and you know it. Fandom is family.